Michael Joseph Jackson, the voice that defined generations. The artist who didn't just make music, he made statements. He challenged power, he pushed boundaries, and some say that's exactly what got him killed. June 25, 2009, Los Angeles. The king of pop was dead. The official story? A tragic accident. A doctor's negligence. An overdose of a powerful anesthetic in a bedroom that became a death chamber. But that was just the beginning of the story. Because 15 years later, millions around the world believe something else entirely. That Michael Jackson didn't just die, he was silenced. Or perhaps he escaped. This is not just the story of how Michael Jackson died. This is the story of what happened in the shadows before that final breath. The pressures, the pills, the people who surrounded him, and the theories that refused to die, whispered by millions who believe the official story is incomplete, or worse, orchestrated. To understand June 25, 2009, we have to rewind 4 years. 2005, Santa Maria Courthouse. Michael Jackson, perhaps the most famous entertainer who ever lived, stood trial on charges that threatened to destroy everything he had built. For months, the world watched as his reputation was dissected in the most public crucifixion modern media had ever orchestrated. When the jury read their verdict, not guilty on all counts, Michael was free. But something inside him had shattered. Friends would later say he was never the same. The man who once commanded stages like a god now seemed fragile, paranoid, a ghost of himself. He fled to Bahrain, then Ireland, bouncing across continents like a refugee from his own fame. The trial had cost him more than $50 million. But money could be made back. Trust? That was another matter entirely. Neverland, his sanctuary, his Disneyland, was closed. The rides stopped spinning. The animals were sent away. Michael couldn't bear to return. Too many memories, too much pain. He was a king without a kingdom, and the vultures were circling. March 5th, 2009, the O2 Arena in London. Michael appears before the press, thin, speaking softly, almost fragile, but the announcement is anything but small. "This is it," he declares. A series of comeback concerts, 10 shows, then 20, then 50. 50 final performances from a man who hadn't toured in over a decade. The world erupted. Tickets sold out in hours. Millions of dollars poured in. But behind the spectacle, warning signs were flashing red. Michael was 50 years old. He weighed barely 130 pounds. Those close to the production whispered concerns. He was missing rehearsals. When he did appear, he was cold, shivering even under the stage lights, wearing multiple layers in the California heat. Kenny Ortega, the show's director, sent an email 5 days before Michael's death that read like a prophecy. He appeared lost, cold, and frightened. "I believe we need professional guidance in this matter." The reply from tour promoters was simple: keep pushing forward. The machine had to keep moving. 50 shows, $500 million in projected revenue. Too much at stake to stop now. Enter Dr. Conrad Murray, a cardiologist from Houston, struggling with debt, child support payments, and a practice on the brink of collapse. Somehow, this man became Michael Jackson's personal physician, paid $150,000 a month. Not to keep Michael healthy, but to help him sleep. Propofol, a powerful anesthetic used in operating rooms, never meant for home use, never meant to induce sleep. But Michael called it his milk. He believed it was the only thing that could give him the rest his tormented mind desperately needed. And Dr. Murray, drowning in his own financial quicksand, agreed to administer it night after night in the bedroom of that Holmby Hills mansion. June 25th started like the others. Murray gave Michael various sedatives throughout the early morning hours: Valium, lorazepam, midazolam. Michael begged for his milk. At 10:40 a.m., Murray administered 25 milligrams of propofol. Then, by his own admission, he left the room to make phone calls. When he returned, Michael had stopped breathing. The 911 call came at 2:21 p.m., but Michael had likely been dead for over an hour. CPR was attempted on a bed, not a hard surface as required. The timeline Murray provided to investigators was riddled with contradictions. And the question that haunts the case to this very day: why did he wait so long to call for help? In 2011, Dr. Conrad Murray was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. He served less than 2 years in prison. 2 years for the death of the most famous entertainer on earth. The judge called his conduct a disgrace to the medical profession. But was he the only one responsible? Or was he simply the last domino in a line that stretched back through managers, promoters, enablers, and an industry that had been bleeding Michael Jackson dry for decades? Michael's family believed there were others. They filed a wrongful death lawsuit against AEG Live, the concert promoters, claiming they pressured Michael into a grueling schedule he physically couldn't handle, and they hired and controlled Dr. Murray. The trial revealed shocking details. After 5 months, the jury sided with AEG, case closed. Or was it? But for millions around the world, the official story has never added up. Type Michael Jackson into any search engine, and the suggestions that follow tell their own story. Still alive, faked death, spotted in 2024. The theories range from the plausible to the absolutely bizarre, but they all share one common thread: the belief that something doesn't fit. Theory number 1. Michael faked his own death. Believers point to inconsistencies. Why does the man in the ambulance photo look different from Michael at recent rehearsals? Why was the memorial service casket closed when the family claims it was an open viewing? Why did Michael's sister LaToya say, "This was not an accident," before quickly retracting the statement? Some claim Michael planned an elaborate escape from the crushing pressure of fame, debts reportedly reaching $400 million, and endless litigation. They say he's living on a remote island, finally free. Sightings have been reported everywhere, from South Africa to Indonesia, from Paris to Montana. A gas station attendant swears she saw him. A grainy video from a shopping mall goes viral. Fans analyze every pixel, every reflection, searching for proof that the king still lives. But no concrete evidence has ever emerged. Still, the true believers remain convinced. Theory number 2. Michael was murdered, not by Murray's negligence, but by design. This theory suggests powerful forces in the music industry wanted Michael silenced. Why? Because he owned something invaluable, the Beatles catalog, worth potentially billions. Because he was speaking out about artist exploitation. Because he knew too much, had too much influence, and was becoming unpredictable and dangerous to those who profited from him. In this version, Dr. Murray was either a willing participant or a convenient scapegoat. Michael had told his family members he feared for his life. He said, "They're going to kill me for my catalog." After his death, those assets were indeed quickly transferred and monetized, generating over $2 billion in the decade that followed. Coincidence or conspiracy? Theory number 3 suggests something darker: that Michael was systematically destroyed by the media, by false accusations, by an industry that built him up only to tear him down for profit. Every scandal sold papers, every accusation drove ratings, and when the golden goose stopped producing, when the debt outweighed the income, perhaps he became more valuable dead than alive. A martyr generates more revenue than a controversial, aging star. The Michael Jackson estate has earned more in death than he did in his final decade of life. So what really happened on June 25, 2009? Was it simply a tragic case of medical negligence? A desperate man and an unethical doctor making fatal decisions? Was it murder disguised as malpractice? Or did the king of pop orchestrate the greatest disappearing act in history? The truth is, we may never fully know. What we do know is this: Michael Jackson was one of the most talented, most troubled, most exploited artists who ever lived. From the age of 5, he was public property. His childhood was stolen. His adulthood was scrutinized. His every move, every relationship, every eccentricity was dissected for entertainment and profit. The industry that made him a god showed no mercy when he stumbled. In his final rehearsals just days before he died, Michael performed Earth Song with the passion and precision that defined his career. Watching that footage now feels haunting. Was he saying goodbye? Did he know what was coming? Or was he simply doing what he'd done his entire life, performing, even when his body and spirit were breaking? Michael Jackson died at 2:26 p.m. on June 25, 2009. That much is documented. But the man, the myth, the mystery, those refuse to die. They live on in the music that still moves us, in the questions that still haunt us, and in the theories that remind us that sometimes the official story is just the beginning. The curtain fell on the king of pop 15 years ago, but the performance, it seems, is far from over. This was the final curtain, the death of Michael Jackson, the mystery that refuses to rest.